Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Sportsocology Show. I'm your host, Bill Knudsen. It is Friday, May 30th, 2014. I know that's kind of strange. I usually do the show on Saturday, but I've got some free time on a Friday, kind of busy over the weekend, and wanted to make sure I got the show in. I wanted to apologize. Last week I had a little bit of technical difficulty, so last week's show, Saturday, May 24th, is in two parts. When you look on YouTube, it'll say part 1 for that day, and then part 2 is the last 6 minutes. So if you haven't already, please go and check that out. I apologize for that, but it's really one show. It's just broken up into 2 parts. Anyway, on to business. I've got a lot to cover, so I want to get right to it. First, the sale of the LA Clippers. I'm not sure if it was actually signed yesterday, but it's been agreed to that Steve Ballmer, formerly the chief executive of Microsoft, agreed to buy the LA Clippers for $2 billion. Unbelievable. I heard that the sale of the Clippers more than doubled ever since this nonsense with Donald Sterling became public, that the Clippers weren't even worth $1 billion before all of this mess happened. And yesterday just sold for $2 billion. Hopefully the Sterlings will just sign the contract. Ballmer will sign the contract. It'll be done and over with, and we'll just go on to basketball as usual after that. So Los Angeles, wow, the Dodgers 2 years ago just sold for $2 billion. I didn't think the Clippers were in the same universe as the Dodgers in terms of the worth of the team, but I guess a team is worth whatever anybody's willing to buy it for. The Dodgers sold for $2 million a couple of years ago. The Clippers, it looks like are going to sell for the same amount, $2 billion. So that's unbelievable. I don't know if that means that the vote that was supposed to happen this coming Tuesday with the owners to get Sterling out is going to happen. It may not need to. Hopefully it won't need to. But in a way, as I'm saying that, I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted to see if all, 29 remaining owners would vote him out with the things I've heard from Mark Cuban lately and his comments. I'm not sure if he was going to vote to get Sterling out or not. I don't know. But I was curious to see if the vote would be 29-0 to get him out or not. And if there were owners that voted not to kick him out, I'd really be curious as to why, and to see if that would have an impact, like if players wouldn't want to play for an owner that didn't want Sterling out. I don't know. I guess that could happen, or demand a trade or something. I don't know. But I think it's still kind of a mess. This all seems to be going too quickly, and I hope it goes through quickly and smoothly, but I think that Donald Sterling or somebody still, might throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing. I'm still not convinced it's just going to flow quickly and smoothly, but I hope it does. But anyway, we'll move on to something else that's been bothering me. I just heard, I think it's next season, the NBA is going to be playing regular season games in London and in Mexico. Why? Why are we doing that? It's the National Basketball Association. It's in the United States and a little bit in Canada with Toronto. But it's in North America, let's just call it that. It's a North American league. Now, I know we have players from around the world, and that's fine. That makes the league even better. I'm not saying we shouldn't have players from around the world. And the game is global, and they want to make it even more so. I get it. I have no problem with that. Make sure that people can watch games around the world, can get the merchandise around the world, but we don't need to be playing games in London. I don't even know how much London cares about the NBA. I guess they do somewhat, but they are welcome to come here and watch our game. That's fine with me. I have no problem with that, but we need to be playing just where we play now. Like I said, TV, jerseys, all that other stuff, sell it all around the world, that's fine. But I don't see why we need to be playing in London and in Mexico in the NBA. The same with the NFL. They're playing in London and in Mexico, and I don't understand why. The National Football League, American football is just that. It's American football. It's in the United States. Sell your stuff around the world, sell the TV rights around the world. People come to America from all over the world every day. We'll welcome them with open arms into our stadiums and things like that. That's all great. I'm all for, globalizing your brand and everything, but not for playing football games in England and in Mexico and things like that. Major League Baseball, too. We're playing in Australia. We started, I think it was the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, I think it was, started the season, games that count, on the other side of the world in Australia. I don't understand that. We've played in Japan, we've played in Mexico, Puerto Rico, and again, I know we have a lot of players from around the world in Major League Baseball. The game wouldn't be as good, nearly as good, as it is without players from other countries. Of course, I understand that. But Major League Baseball is in North America. The Japanese league doesn't come over and play regular season games in America. They don't do that. It's a Japanese league. They play in Japan. Now, I know we have some players from Japan, but they're not representing the Japanese league. They're playing here in Major League Baseball. The Japanese league is playing in Japan because it's a Japanese league. Major League Baseball needs to play in North America. We're going to import players from around the world. That's great. Let them watch on TV. Let them buy the jerseys. They are welcome to come here. And again, we will welcome our stadiums with open arms. We will open it up to them. But our games need to be played here on our continent. Let people come and watch, in person. Let them come to America and watch. Awesome. On TV, let them buy the merchandise. I'm in favor of all of that, but I am not in favor of having our games being played in all of these foreign countries, our leagues being played in all of these foreign countries. I don't like it. It bothers me, and hopefully they'll stop doing it. I know, for the most part, everything I'm hearing from the players, they don't want to deal with all that traveling, especially in the NFL, when they have to travel to Europe, over to England or whatever, and I'm sure that the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks did not want to go to Australia. I heard a bunch of them say it. They did not want to go to Australia to start the 2014 season. So I'm thinking, for the most part, the players in these leagues are not in favor of playing in these foreign countries for the most part. So let's cut that out. Let's just keep our leagues playing in the country that we're supposed to, or the continent, if you will, because we play in Canada too, and that's fine. But let's just play where we're supposed to play and let the world come and watch it, in person. So moving on, after that vent, I'm going to talk about the Mets and the Braves a little bit. I live here in Atlanta. I do not like the Braves or any other Atlanta team. I've said it on previous shows. I was extremely happy watching the Braves blow a couple of games that they probably should have won and get swept 4 straight by the Red Sox. That made me very, very happy. I'm not a Red Sox fan. It's not that I was rooting for the Red Sox so much. I was rooting against the Atlanta Braves. So the 4-game sweep was a beautiful thing, especially since the Mets have won 3 in a row. And the Mets are 25-28. Probably about where I thought they'd be after 53 games, somewhere in here. But I didn't think that they'd only be 3 games out of first place, being 25-28. The Braves are not playing that well. They've been inconsistent. They've looked like the Braves we're used to seeing for the last 20 years sometimes, and then they haven't looked so good other times. They're going through a bad streak, and I hope it continues down in Miami this weekend. That's where the Braves are. The Mets are in Philadelphia for a rare 5-game series, which they won the first one last night. But it's very rare that you have a 5-game series against anybody. And no doubleheaders. It's 5 straight nights of 1 game each. So I'm hoping the Mets can continue to play well. I still don't think that they have the pitching. They certainly don't have the bullpen, and I don't think their lineup is nearly good enough to stay competitive for the last 109 games or whatever it is. I believe it'll be the Braves. I know the Marlins are tied with the Braves at this moment going into their series this weekend against each other. I don't think the Marlins have the pitching to hold up, especially since they lost Their stud Fernandez got the Tommy John surgery. He's done, so I think the Marlins will eventually fade. I think the Mets, they're not going to stay competitive. I think by the All-Star break, basically they won't be in competition for the playoffs or the division title. I hope I'm wrong. I definitely want to eat those words. But hopefully the Braves will continue to slide and the Mets will surprise people. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't see it. I picked the Nationals to win the division before the season starts, and the Nationals have been very inconsistent, but they're only 2 games back, I think, as this show is being recorded on May 30th. But it's go Mets. Hopefully the starting pitching will continue. We'll get some hitting, and hopefully the Braves will continue to slide. All right, so now I'm going to move on to the Stanley Cup Finals in the National Hockey League. You probably know the Rangers clinched the Eastern Division last night with a 1-0 victory over the Canadiens. I said the Rangers would beat the Canadiens in 7. They did it a game earlier in 6. So the Rangers, for the first time in 20 years, will be playing for the Stanley Cup. Don't know who they're playing yet. Blackhawks and the Kings. That series is 3-2 in favor of the Kings. Now, I picked the Blackhawks to win over the Kings in 6 games. Obviously, the Blackhawks can only win in 7. And Game 6 is tonight in L.A. I guess since I picked the Blackhawks in 7, I will pick the Blackhawks to win tonight, but I'm not feeling super confident about it. Obviously, when you're down 3-2 and you're going on the road for Game 6, that favors the home team that's ahead 3-2 a lot. But since I picked the Blackhawks to win this series, I forget if I picked them in 6 or 7. I think it was in 6, but I definitely did pick the Blackhawks. So I'll pick the Blackhawks to pull the upset, being down 3-1 originally. They won in overtime the other night, in double overtime actually, to cut the lead to 3-2. So I guess I'll stick with the Blackhawks. I picked them to win, so I'll stick with them. But we'll have to see. Either way, the Stanley Cup Finals, when they begin next week, I think it's Wednesday they start, will begin in the Western Conference Champions building. So it'll be either in Chicago or in LA. I picked the Blackhawks to win, but it's looking like it's going to be in LA. But either way, the Rangers will be on the road for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, whichever team they're facing. All right, and to wrap things up, I'm going to go to the NBA playoffs. Both series are 3-2. The Heat have a 3-2 lead over the Pacers. After the nail biter the other day in Indiana, the Pacers stayed alive. LeBron had a lot of foul trouble. Only scored 7 points, so he really wasn't a factor. I'm hoping that tonight down in Miami we'll see the usual LeBron, because I want the Heat to win, win it all. I'm not a Pacers fan. The Pacers, I'm sure, after the game the other night, they have some confidence that they can go down to Miami and avoid elimination again. But I'm hoping LeBron and D-Wade and Bosh and company will be able to step up and take care of business and get rid of the Pacers tonight in 6 games. A little nervous about it, I guess. Pacers played pretty well, at least at times, the other day. Even though the Heat still had a chance to win, I kind of wanted LeBron on that last play of the game to take it right to the basket and hopefully slam dunk over Hibbert, past George and over Hibbert, and maybe get an and one and win the game that way. But he dished it out to a pretty open Bosh. It was somewhat contested, the 3 that Bosh took at the buzzer. It was somewhat contested. Paul George was coming at him. But I was kind of hoping that LeBron would just take it himself. But it didn't happen, and credit to the Pacers. But hopefully the Heat will take care of business tonight. In the West, the Spurs have a 3-2 lead over the Thunder. And none of the 5 games have been competitive. All 5 have been blowouts by the home team. So I picked the Thunder in 7 to win this series. I guess I'll stay with that, but I'm not confident with it at all anymore. Even if the Thunder win Game 6 tomorrow night to even the series at 3, they've gotten blown out all 3 games at San Antonio. So I don't know why I would think that after getting blown out 3 straight games on the road that they would come and win a decisive Game 7 in San Antonio. It's certainly not looking like that's going to happen, but since I picked the Thunder to beat the Spurs, I guess I'll stay with it. I'm hoping for that because selfishly, I think that the Thunder would be a better matchup for the Heat if the Heat get past the Pacers, which I'm hoping they do tonight. I think the Thunder would be an easier matchup for the Heat than the Spurs. Excuse me. We saw how tough the Spurs were for the Heat last year. Really, the Spurs should have won the championship in 6 games over the Heat last year. They blew that 5-point lead with 28 seconds to go. LeBron hit a big 3, and then after he missed the big 3 to win the game, Bosh got the rebound, dished it out to Ray Allen, and Allen hit one of the biggest 3-pointers in the history of the NBA to tie that game and allow the Heat to win in overtime and win the championship. So you know the Spurs want the Heat in that final. And I think the Heat, they would never admit it publicly, but I think the Heat even think that the Thunder would be an easier matchup. Not an easy matchup, but an easier matchup than the Spurs. I think privately, the Heat don't want to see the Spurs in the finals if the Heat get there. They would, if they were being honest publicly, they would say, they'd rather see the Thunder. Of course, they're going to say the proper thing, and they're going to say, we just want to be there. We don't care who we play. But if they were letting their honest feelings out in public, they don't want any part of the Spurs, I don't think. They would rather see the Thunder. But right now, they have to concentrate on tonight at 8:30 Eastern. They have to concentrate on getting rid of the Pacers first, getting a few days off to prepare for what seems like it's going to be the Spurs, but I'm hoping it'll be the Thunder. And I actually picked the Thunder to beat the Heat and win the title, but it's looking more and more like it'll be the Spurs that win the West. But I'm sticking with the Thunder since I picked them. But anyway, that's all I've got for today. I hope you have a great weekend. Watching the baseball, watching the NBA. There won't be any hockey this weekend for you hockey fans out there. I'm sorry. There won't be Stanley Cup Finals. Blackhawks Kings Game 6 in LA is tonight. So if you're into the hockey, watch that. NBA Finals tonight. NBA Conference Finals tonight. The Heat trying to wrap it up in Game 6 tonight. Game 6 tomorrow is the Spurs at Oklahoma City. Enjoy the baseball, golf, whatever it is, hanging out with your family, whatever it is you enjoy doing. Get out there and do it. Have fun at whatever you're doing. Follow me, Twitter, Facebook. Look for the show on the Sportsocology Show. Look for that on YouTube. But whatever it is you want to do, have a great time doing it. And thanks for listening. I do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time, America, wherever you are.